What's up? I'm out in the woods right now, just going on a little bike ride, but today's video is just going to be about pretty much how I got out of an 8-year funk and then fell right back into it. And I don't want to come off as like I know everything, because honestly I don't know shit. I'm still learning every single day. I have a lot to learn. So I'm just gonna approach it like I'm just gonna tell you the story of how I became homeless and how I started living in my boss's t-shirt store and how it affected me and what I learned from it. If somebody could take something from that, then that would be really cool. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm just gonna give you the short version of the story because it is pretty long, but I do plan. The bush. Just don't vlog and bike. That's all I'm saying. See, none of this would happen if I had a one wheel. End up in the bushes all the time. Long story short, I completely hated the life I was living. I was screwing up my whole life. I was making horrible decisions, and I was just sitting around waiting for that day where I woke up and everything was fine. Until one day, I finally figured out what I needed to do. So I packed up a bag, I hopped on a bus, and I just left. I went from Phoenix, Arizona, all the way to northern Michigan. I know that sounds completely crazy, leaving everything you know behind. I felt like that was the only way that I was gonna change, and I did it. A little too fast, slow down. Slow down, baby. This is too fast. This is too fast. All right. So I'm talking about vlogging and biking. Gosh. How do I always end up in a bush? Vlogging and biking. One wheel. So when I got to northern Michigan, it was a little difficult to adjust at first, but I did it. I ended up getting a decent job, and I even bought myself a car. But then I got this great idea that I could save up a bunch of money if I just lived in my car instead of the small motel room I was living in at the time. So that's what I did. I started living in my car, and I did it for like 3 or 4 months. And then all of a sudden, things happened. I got fired from that decent job, ended up having to scrap my car. So I pretty much lost everything in 3 days. Right when I thought I was out of that funk, I fell right back into it. I worked so hard to get out of that low place I was at. I moved thousands of miles away from everything I knew and my family, and I started doing good. And then within 3 days, all it took was 3 days for me to lose it all. And that put me right back into that low place. But I've always kept that mindset that I need to do whatever it takes to get out of this, no matter what. And that brings us to where I am at currently. And this is where I live. I was trying so hard to be happy. I was trying too hard to be happy. I was chasing happiness, but it doesn't work like that. I just saw a quote. It said, "You're never gonna be happy if you constantly chase and try to figure out what happiness consists of." And I think that's so very, very true, no matter how cliche it is, but just don't try so hard. So it's actually the next day. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. The sun's coming up. I've been up all night. I've been thinking a lot about what exactly I learned from that whole experience. So one major thing that I learned is how much time I wasted. I know it sounds crazy moving thousands of miles away from your family and your friends and everything, but honestly, I wish I would have done it sooner. I just wasted so much time just sitting around waiting for something to change, waiting for that day where I just woke up and everything was fine. I really wish I would have came here sooner. I met a lot of great people out here in northern Michigan that helped me in the biggest ways possible. So if there's any advice I feel like I could give is, even though not everything works for everybody, just do whatever it takes. Even if it seems scary or like a huge life change, if that's what you feel you need to do, then you need to do it. And don't just sit around contemplating it, debating on whether or not you should do it. If you feel it, do it.